Hi, everyone. I am covering the topic of emotional eating today because it's huge for a lot of people. It is a problem, me included. And that's why I'm coming here to just kind of shed some light on that topic and give you guys some of my tips and advice of how you can overcome that. Because just because you've been an emotional eater in the past, or just because you know that when you're stressed or sad or angry or tired that you usually turn to food, doesn't mean that it has to be that way forever. There are ways to retrain your brain to not default to those old, negative, unhealthy habits. And that's what I'm going to talk about. So, emotional eating. I have written down some questions that if you answer yes to one or two of the questions that I asked, that this topic could be for you. Maybe start to think about the things that I'm saying and start to change those negative habits into positive, more healthy ones, okay? So when you're stressed, I'm going to read them right off the sheet here. When you're stressed and you are starting to feel your heart rate going up or you're tired or you're angry or whatever, do you automatically think about food? Do you automatically turn to the closest food that's near you and grab that? Okay, that's question one. Question two is, do you eat when you're not physically hungry? So in between meals, when you're maybe tired or bored or you're stressed trying to get a project done for work, and you're not hungry and you know that you're not hungry, are you snacking on things? Okay. Question three is, when that eating and snacking occurs, are you eating on autopilot? So are you just mindlessly shoving this food in your mouth and not thinking about what you're doing and what you're eating? Then the last question is, when you eat treats, desserts, or drink pop, or whatever it is with those, whatever treat it is for you, do you hide when you're eating and consuming those because you're embarrassed? Or are you okay eating them openly in front of others? Okay, so those are the questions to think about. If you answered yes to one or two or all of them, then maybe you need to make some changes, and maybe this video will help you. So when we use food to appease our moods, we know that just turns into a vicious cycle, right? You're stressed, you're angry, you're tired, whatever. You mindlessly snack on a bunch of food and just shovel it into your mouth. And then the next thing you know, you're like, oh, crap. I just ate 3 cookies or whatever it is. And you didn't even realize it at the time. Then you start to get those feelings of guilt. And then the guilt brings on more emotional eating, and it just turns to weight gain into this nasty, vicious cycle. There are ways to break that. And first, it is important to understand emotional eating and why it tends to occur with some people and not others. So I always kind of compared myself to others, and why can some people, when they're stressed or overwhelmed or tired or sad or whatever, not eat or eat less? And they lose weight, where other people like myself in the past, when they're overwhelmed and stressed and anxious, they eat more. And studies have shown that if you are a skipper and somebody that tends to skip meals or forget to eat or whatever it is, when you are in those stress situations, those people tend to eat less and to not eat as much. And if you are known as a snacker or a picker, like myself, in those situations, you tend to eat more and you turn to food for comfort. And when you are in those stress situations, your brain tends to default back to your old negative habits, okay? It wants to take that path of least resistance instead of trying something new, because you're already overwhelmed as it is. Your brain is just going to automatically default back to those behaviors, okay? So here are some of my tips for how to start to overcome this if this is a problem for you. Is One, when you start to feel stressed or anxious, angry, sad, let's say that you're running late for work or you spilled coffee on your outfit and you have to go upstairs and change, or your boss gives you this project that you know needs to be done by the end of the week and you just are going to be working mega overtime to get it done. When you're starting to feel those feelings of being stressed and anxious and angry and sad or tired, whatever it is, don't reach for the food that may be right in front of you, okay? Close your eyes, take a deep breath, maybe count to 5 or 10. Focus on that breath up and down, okay? The big inhale and the big exhale. And really think about what you're feeling at that very moment. Recognize those feelings that are going on inside of you. Maybe say them out loud to acknowledge them. I am feeling like this because of this, okay? Acknowledge those feelings. And then think about what you actually need to feel better. Chances are it's not food, okay? I've learned that. What do you actually need to make yourself better long term? And long term is the key, because food, yes, we have kind of been trained to think that food makes us feel better. You know, food releases those hormones in us that make us feel good, but it only lasts for that little bit of time. And then you're left with all those calories and fat and sugars and yucky things that you really don't, that are not really going to make you feel better, right? Okay, so acknowledge the feelings that's going on inside of you, say them out loud, take a deep breath, and figure out what you need to feel better. So maybe you need to just take a break from what's going on in front of you at that time, okay? Maybe you need to step outside, get a couple of minutes of fresh air, and then revisit the situation afterwards. Maybe that's gonna allow you to cool down. Maybe if you're angry at a certain someone or situation, maybe expressing your feelings to them. That might make you feel better long term, okay? Food is not going to fix that. Food may make you feel better for those couple of short minutes, and then it's over. And you still are left with those feelings inside of you, okay? So that's my first tip. Acknowledge the feelings, figure out what you really need to feel better. And then the second one is, when you're not in a stressful situation, okay, start to program your brain to find comfort in other things that are not food or negative behaviors, okay? So when you are not in that stressful situation, try something new. Maybe take a long hot bath or go for a long walk. Try meditation. I just downloaded this new app on my phone that's a guided meditation that I'm going to start to try out. I think it'd be really beneficial for me. So maybe try something like that, or get your body moving, work out, sit down with a book, and maybe that clears your mind, okay? So when you're not in a stressful situation, try things and see how they make you feel. And record that feeling in your mind. Say it out loud. This long hot bath makes me feel relaxed, okay? And then as you start to retrain your brain and to consistently do these positive, healthier alternatives to the behaviors that you used to do, your body, your brain is not going to default to those negative behaviors anymore, okay? It's going to take time, yeah, and it's going to take you training your brain when that situation comes. How am I really feeling? What do I need? No, it's not food that you need. Go and try this, okay? And then see how you feel after that. And start to record that stuff down, okay? So those are my tips on how to just overcome stress eating and emotional eating, because it's huge. A lot of people are affected by it, and a lot of people have a hard time getting over it, but you can. You can break that cycle. You can do anything, and you can replace negative habits with positive ones. It's going to take a little bit of time, but you can do it. You can do anything that you consciously put your mind to. Okay? So those are my tips. If you need any help, you know that I am always here, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.